The Frostbitten Stranger. The blizzard came in swiftly, the kind that buried homes and silenced the world under a suffocating blanket of white. Mary and Samuel, along with their children, 8-year-old Clara and her older brother Thomas, huddled in their small cabin. They prayed the storm wouldn't last long, their firewood and provisions running dangerously low. A loud banging on the door startled them, and Samuel was the first to rise. When he opened it, the freezing wind surged in, carrying with it a figure cloaked in snow. The man stumbled in, his face pale, his lips blue, and his hands trembling as though frozen solid. "Please," he rasped. "The storm. I'll die out there." Mary ushered him to the fire, wrapping him in a blanket while Samuel ladled out a bowl of steaming stew. The stranger said little, only thanking them in a low, strained voice. His hands shook violently as he gripped the bowl, his breath fogging the air despite the warmth of the room. Clara stared at him with wide eyes. "Papa, his shadow looks funny," she whispered. "Don't be rude," Mary scolded gently, though she too couldn't help but notice something unsettling. The firelight cast shadows of the family's every move, but the stranger's shadow lagged behind, sometimes jerking unnaturally or stretching in ways it shouldn't. As the hours passed, the atmosphere in the cabin grew heavier. The fire, roaring just moments ago, sputtered and dimmed. The air, instead of warming, grew colder, and frost began to spread across the window panes from the inside. "Perhaps we should stoke the fire," Samuel muttered, though his voice betrayed unease. The stranger turned to him with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "There's no need," he said softly. "I prefer the cold." Mary instinctively drew Clara closer. Thomas, emboldened by teenage defiance, stood and pointed accusingly. "What are you? Why doesn't your shadow move like ours?" The stranger chuckled, a low, reverberating sound that seemed to come from all corners of the room. He stood, letting the blanket fall away. In the dim firelight, his frostbitten fingers seemed sharper, almost claw-like, and his blue lips curled into a grin that revealed teeth far too long and pointed. "I am what the storm makes of me," he said, his voice like the creak of ice underfoot. "And now, you'll be part of it too." The frost crept faster now, engulfing the walls and extinguishing the fire completely. The family screamed as the temperature plummeted, their breaths crystallizing in the air. The stranger's shadow stretched, enveloping them as his inhuman laugh echoed through the cabin. When the storm cleared the next morning, the cabin stood silent, its windows frosted over. A passing hunter peered inside and found the family sitting as if frozen in time, their faces locked in expressions of terror. Of the stranger there was no sign, only a trail of frost leading out into the snow, disappearing into the horizon where the storm had gone.